Sani bonani babukeli abathandikayo. Ngithemba ninjani na Nhlanhla. Ngingo Brand Pasco Sechito, PBS TV Uganda. Thanks for tuning in once again, our dear viewers. But if it's your first time, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment for more interesting stories on all our social media platforms. So today I want to take you direct to details and see where General Mkhwanazi exposed the corrupt lawyers and talked about very many matters of national importance. Let us see more.
Courts, Honorable Chair, the courts, I will look at them as involving three different officers there of the court. One of them are the lawyers. We have a legal practice council that exists in the country that regulates how the lawyers must behave. We cannot give you the names, but we know the names of the lawyers that are paid. Someone presented here that the lawyers, I think it was a brigadier, who said the lawyers come to court and pay the bail for the person arrested without even that person affording the bail. They know that they are paying on behalf of, they're paying this one, they're going to collect it from the boss gang who's somewhere else. That's how the lawyers survive these days. You see them making noise, fighting tooth and nail to make sure they clear their clients, hiding under this disguise of, say, it's a client lawyer privilege. But and then almost all of them, they run with what are these accounts, they call them? Because they don't use their personal account. Trust account. They've got trust account where the client puts the money into the trust account. They collect money cash. How can a person, a 17-year-old unemployed, get arrested, caught with drugs, and he is represented by a senior advocate who charges 20,000 rand an hour? The logic tells everyone that this lawyer is funded by crime. It tells you that. We've got big, high-profile people that are currently standing before different institutions that are represented by senior counsels. We know that those people are not paying them. They're being paid by others somewhere else. So I think the legal process council might need to come on board and look at this person who's representing someone in court. Prosecutors, recruitment, training, development, rewards, and punishment of those prosecutors is something that might need to be looked at. We've seen a lot of challenges as we are dealing with these problems since last year, July, that there's so much restrictions on prosecutions and there's so much freedom on what they can do on their own. A typical example, a police officer can come from Pretoria and get to Cape Town. If he sees crime outside there, he will arrest. He will detain. He goes to court and present a matter, but not with the prosecutor. The prosecutor can't come from Gauteng and NZA and go to court and preside over a matter. It needs to be delegated, a function. So if this director here does not want to delegate the function, tough luck, he cannot prosecute. We find it difficult challenge as we speak in dealing with the Nhlanhla Commission recommendations. That we've got dedicated prosecutors that have been assigned to come to Gauteng to work with the task team. For every case they want to prosecute, they must write to the national director and seek permission. There's cases that almost a month, we're still waiting for decisions. We're still waiting for delegation for them to prosecute. So those restrictions that exist in legislations are part of the problem. Then you fight with the police and say, you've arrested a person and a person is walking on the street. It is because it cannot be prosecuted for whatever reason that the NPA has, that the public is not aware of. Presiding officers, we've got the Magistrate Commission and we've got the Judicial Commission, the Judicial Service Commission, who also might need to come on board and look at the ethical behaviors of the presiding officers if we're to fix the system. It can't be the SCPS alone. So inviting the researchers to go and look at the entire value chain of the justice system in order to fix it. A police officer or a law enforcement officer, a lawyer representing a person arrested, a prosecutor, and the presiding officer. There's something that not right there. And the last one, of course, it's our colleagues in brown uniform. We can hide it, but the honest truth is our correctional facilities are the breeding grounds of crime and gangs. Say what you like. They are a breeding grounds of gangs. They walk in there innocent, not knowing much. They come out, they've been coached into being numbers, and they can speak the language. One of the officials was arrested recently, I think last week, wanting to take contrabands into one of the correctional facilities here, an official. So that tells you that there's something wrong inside the very same correctional centers that we think we are sending people to come back, change individuals. But they actually come back worse than before. So then we ask ourselves a question: is our correctional facilities doing what the government wants them to do? Until we interrogate those things, let's forget about dealing with gangs. Because the breeding ground is in prison. We chase the street, we arrest them, we send them in prison, they become hard gangs, and they come out with new strategies. And the circle continues again. So I want to invite you to look at the entire place. In all these areas I'm talking about, law enforcement, correction, courts, people, correctional service, we have to look at the individuals that are employed there, whether they are not members of the gangs themselves. Because you can be a gang as a police officer, gang as a lawyer, gang as a prosecutor, and gang as a magistrate or a judge. You can be gangs. There are judges these days that have been removed of the strip of their positions because of unethical behaviors. So nobody is immune. In the criminal way, they say everyone has a price. You pay. So the last two things, Honorable Chair, members, and the public at large, we want to invite you to look at the public service, the provision of the adequate infrastructure to society in order to discourage crime. For instance, we always complain about this when we release our crime stats. Town planning. If people are allowed by the legislation to go and set up, put a shack and put a roof over their head because of the sake of human right, we must never come back and complain about crime, because we can't expect police to be there. Town planning is important. People must, that's why I say people must be governed by laws and rules. If people are not penalized by doing that, we're going to turn around and say, but crime is high in Cape Flats. Go and analyze where is the crime in Cape Town. Cape Flats, but where in Cape Flats? Yes, you're going to find it in build-up areas, but you're going to find majority of it in informal settlements. So why was the informal settlement allowed to be there to start with? So those are the reforms that need to be looked at. Town planning would include, of course, roads, design where people must stay, parks, schools, playgrounds for the kids and stuff like that. Those are the things that must be catered for so that the kids have got something to do. And also we want to invite this committee to also look at these social grants that we have, because they're part of our problem that are encouraging teenagers to be pregnant and unplanned pregnancy. And then you get a mother that has got 3 kids. He gets grant. He have these kids because he wants grant, and he leaves the kids with the grandmother and he goes away. And the grandparents must then look after these kids, and the grandparents cannot do that. They turn around these kids and they take the grandparents' money. And they end up doing what is wrong because there's no one who's adult at home to be able to help them to grow. So we want to plead with that, that we be assisted with that. And the last one, financial well-being. Honorable Chair, members, we want to make sure that business remain in South Africa. So the ease of doing business is something that must be looked at. Companies cannot pack and go to the neighboring countries because, say, it's difficult to operate in the country. Why is it difficult? It could be the laws that allow them to set up their business. Could be the labor laws that we have where we demand so much, and they end up saying, if I set up in Lesotho and set up in Mozambique, I'll make more money, so let me rather move. There are many businesses that are moving as a result. And what happens after that? The citizens in the country are left without jobs. So we need to encourage business to stay in the country so that it can create opportunities for people to get employment. And lastly, maybe looking at this government public works program. We ask ourselves as law enforcement, today we're dealing with tenders, corruption in tenders, and we ask ourselves a question. With this high level of unemployment, why is government issuing tenders for people to build a school? There are kids that have done engineering. They can be able to supervise the construction of the school. There are people that don't have that education that can be employed by government to mix the cement and put those bricks up as artisans. And then we have a school, we have a clinic, we have a hospital, we have a police station. But all that is outsourced. We have a road. We even outsource the scraping of a gravel road as government. Why government does that? So this outsourcing, it's what breeds this criminality. And what then happens, it leaves people unemployed. And when people are unemployed, they sit and do nothing. And someone said, an idle mind is a devil's playground. So when people are not engaged with anything, they are going to do crime. So we want to encourage that if we want to have a solution for the gangs in the Western Cape or anywhere else in the country, we must look at this holistic environment of solving a problem. If we're going to think that law enforcement is a solution, I've said it before, most of us, we're going to take off our jacket to become citizens, the problem will remain there. So we have to, as a collective for our own children, do something extraordinary. And someone say, we don't need to be political when we address this issue. And I agree with it. We really have to take away our flags and badges on political parties and come back as citizens and say, what is the problem and how do you fix it? So we appreciate this engagement, Honorable Chair and members, and as management of the SAPS, we've been taking notes, and we're going to go back and engage ourselves at the head office and try and see what can we do to adjust in terms of responding to this crisis. But thank you very much for giving us an opportunity. I want to thank you, sir. Doctor.